everyone, it's Consulta, your host for the Dance Teachers Summit for 2015, and today is a fun day. Today is all about evergreen enrollments. We are talking about sales, and I know so many of you don't like using that word, but you are business owners and you need to create a sales process in your business to get those new student enrollments through the door, but then enrolling, signing up, and then you need to retain them. So we've got experts today helping us on how to do that in our business. Now, I'm really excited to be bringing on a good friend of mine who is a guru when it comes to sales. She's been working with health clubs and gyms across the world for many, many years. She's got amazing strategies. She's fun, pretty entertaining as well, and funny. Hello, Amanda. Great to have you.
Hi, everybody.
Amanda, I'd love for you to start by just telling us a little bit about you in 60 seconds. It's quick. A little bit about you, what you do, and what's your big mission in the world.
Well, basically, I've been involved in building businesses for the last 20 years. I've started off in retail sales and then ended up in the fitness industry, growing health clubs and personal training studios and yoga studios and swim school and all that sort of thing. So my biggest passion is to help business owners understand about the sales process, not be scared about it, learn about lead generation. I think we put sales and marketing over here and we forget about lead generation, which is probably the most important thing. And also to show people that they need to consistently, learn and grow in sales, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can actually grow your business on a budget, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What is, for our studio owners that are like, okay, I know about sales, I've heard about marketing, what's lead generation? It must be about getting more students into the studio. What's your kind of definition of that?
Yeah, for me, lead generation is about controlling the marketing. So we could actually have, we put out flyers and everything for marketing or send emails out, but the whole concept of marketing is to get a name and number. Once we get a name and number, that's where I call it lead generation, when we get an actual name and number, and then we can control the process from that point on. So with my staff, their goal is to get about 30 new leads a day and to put them into the grow databases and put them into the system, as well as us doing the marketing. So we've got 3 components. Well, actually, we've got 4. We've got retention of customers, and then we've got lead generation, sales, and marketing. So the lead generation component would be us getting name and numbers in various strategies such as lead boxes, referrals, and even we go to bus stops with like a clipboard and just say, would you like to book in for a free yoga class, or maybe would you like to book in for a free dance trial? So lead generation is about more about having the control about tomorrow's sales.
I love that. So our studio owners should definitely be thinking about lead generation, and they should probably be putting some goals in place around that. Like you just said, 30 names and numbers. I mean, how should they be thinking about it? Like, what goals could they be putting in place? If they've never thought or heard of lead generation, and they might put a Facebook ad out there, or they might do a flyer drop and they're getting some names and numbers, but they kind of don't have any goals around it, how would you suggest they start kind of putting a strategy in place for that?
So what I do is I do a growth plan, and the growth plan is, I think we focus too much on sales and not how much the business grows by, because I even remember walking into a business and I said to do sales training, they called me up to Newcastle, went in there and I said, okay, so what's your sales target? Had the whole room, had a big whiteboard, ready to do sales training for the day. And I said, how many sales are you guys selling at the moment? And because they had this big sales problem, huge sales problem, they kept saying. And they said 300 units a month. And I went, hang on a second, you don't have a sales problem, you've got a retention problem. And I flipped the board around and I said, that's it. I'm gonna stop 50 people leaving a month, and then we'll have a growth of 50. Like, you're selling 300 units, that's good to me. So the whole concept is growth. So how I start off is going, okay, so if you've got 300 students in your studio at the moment and you want to get to 350 next month, then you need to grow by 50. So you need to work on the percentage of people that are leaving each month. In the fitness industry, we generally work on 5% of people leaving every month. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's like. Maybe you can help out some of your coaching clients with those figures, but we have to work out what percentage of people is leaving each month, and then we add the growth on top, and then we've got our sales figures. So to give you a rough example, I'm growing by 50 units a month at the moment in one of my studios. So our growth target is 50. So we're probably losing about 10 units a month. So our sales target's 60. So I know we need to go out and get obviously more than 60, because we've got about a 40% closing ratio off our trials at the moment. It could be better. I usually shoot for 55%, but off trials, I'm happy with that. So then we worked out the other day that we needed to get, it was something like, say 180 people in a month for trials. We convert 40 of them and we get 60 sale units. That's kind of how it works. But it all comes down to the growth target of the units of students that you need.
I love that. And I know what we've done with lots of our studios, talk about growth, but we then talk about frequency, because so many people are like, we need more students, we need more students. I'm like, hey, with those people that are at your studio and already that are loving your classes, are you cross-selling them into other classes? Are you upselling them? So there's an opportunity always there as well to get your studio, your students involved more in your studio in the services that you've got.
Right, totally. And you might have products that you sell and all that sort of thing. I look like very dark, hey? It's not so bad for a 40-year-old. It's getting a bit darky, but I like the dark. I look better. So, yeah, so totally with that, there's, what's the frequency of them? I think that there definitely could be, you can gain more security by membership-based stuff. You and I both love the direct debit system. I've just gone in from, I saved a yoga studio about 4 years ago. It only had about 80 members when I was going in there, and they were about to close, and they all sold like single sessions and 10 packs and all that. And that business has been open for 4 years since the time I went in there. Instantly in the first year, we got 100 grand onto the books, and then obviously since then it's been growing. So it's on about 300 odd direct debit members now. They're probably goal. I just told them I really want them to lift again. They were sitting nicely, but I want them to go to 500. So I really upped the ante there because I think they're right at the right level. But I just don't think the Australian market, whether it be dance, yoga, Pilates, any business, you just can't forecast if you're just taking single sessions as well. Like, you've got to really seriously think about long-term income. So whether that be, unlimited sessions for a certain amount per week, or like you're saying, there's a minimum of 2 classes per week that they do. Of course, you're going to have your drop-in cash, but that's just bonus money. Like, I don't forecast drop-in casual cash at all. Like, if I get it, great, but what's a handful of dollars? Like, really need to forecast with, understanding that. Plus, also, like you said, the profit margins of profit centers. Maybe we can have an intro day, or we can have just a specific intensive workshop for the day and get more people in. And I think those days are really great to increase your cash. So
yeah, I love that you mentioned, the direct debit. I mean, we're lucky, we've got studio owners from around the globe that are part of our programs, but so many people now are going, yes, okay, let's do direct debit. Let's get people on a membership program so that we've got that cash flow continually through the year, not just for 8 months. I mean, some studios are just operating 8 months. A lot of them now are operating, 9 and 10 months of the year, but we want to create a business that, basically rock and rolls 12 months of the year.
Yeah, well, a lot of the time, especially in the studios, you're starting to get contracts now. Even if you work out of a hall, like, they're going to have commitment that they're going to be asked for. And, the rent's so expensive, especially in Australia. I know America's rent's not so big, but it's all relative to the wages and everything anyway. So our wages are really high and our rent is really high. So there's no way I'd open a studio in especially Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, and obviously some parts of America, particularly LA and New York, without that security that those members are going to be paying me for a certain period of time. So just to use the yoga example again, because I think it's really relative, because yoga is doing exactly what the dance exactly now. Like, I don't know any other yoga studio doing what I'm doing. Everyone's still taking 10 passes per session workouts, and there's no way I would do that. So I just opened a yoga studio 3 months ago, and we're selling 12-month direct debit memberships. Yes, it's hard to teach that culture to people, but our growth is 50 new direct debit memberships a month, and we're doing it. I'm not saying it's easy. Like, it's taken every single ounce of my body, to be able to do this, but I know that as soon as we lock them in, we've got longevity. If we don't do this, like, people, we've had a really cold winter, especially in Sydney, and you just can't judge those sort of environments. If we didn't have those people locked in, our business would be dead in the water at the moment. I'm sure some studios out there have struggled in Sydney over the winter periods. It's just been a really cold time for us, and that happens in different environments. Like with Queensland, you can get a lot of rain, and obviously Melbourne, certain conditions. You just don't want you don't want anything else to factor on the performance of your business, because we have so many other variables we need to deal with. So I just would start forward thinking, and obviously you can help your clients to be able to put those processes in place, because we've both worked together with the billing environment. But there's no way as a business owner I'd secure a rent. Like, my rent's $115,000 a year. I just can't do that. Plus, also to my teachers, their livelihood, relies on me, and I think that not a lot of people respect that relationship. I can't just tell my teachers, "Oh, sorry, I need to cancel your class tomorrow because I don't have anybody in that class." Like, eventually you're going to lose good people as well. And you've got to understand their whole livelihood develops around what you can provide for them consistently as well. So it's just a win for everybody. And the other thing is, it makes people come. So if they've got a dance membership and they've got, unlimited classes for the week, they'll just maximize it. It's just, it's a win for them too. So they'll get better, and whatever their goal may be, whether it be losing weight or it might be just to, get social, whatever it is, they'll just use it more. But when you do passes and stuff like that, it makes the people use it less. But unlimited memberships make people use it more because they want to get more value. So if you sell someone a 10-class pass, then what they'll do is, like today I woke up with a bit of a sniffle again, and you would think, oh, I don't want to waste my session, I won't go in tonight. But if I had a full membership where it was unlimited, I'd go in anyway, and I'd just have a go even if it was half pace. So 10 passes and all that sort of thing, casual usage, actually decreases attendance, but unlimited products, like an unlimited membership, actually increases attendance. And increase in attendance equals results, retention, referrals. It just win for everybody, especially a customer.
I agree. I'm a big fan of membership. I guess a hurdle or a challenge that lots of studio owners come up against is if they've been doing it one way. So a lot of studio owners might invoice for the term, okay? Or the month. They're invoicing for the month or the quarter. How do they go about making that shift to maybe a monthly direct debit and getting parents to hand over their credit cards? And I mean, they're doing it for swimming and they're doing it at the gym, but for some reason they're a bit maybe stuck around. I don't want to do it for dance because you have 6 weeks holidays or you have the whole of summer off in the US. How can they kind of get around that?
Yeah, so we did that with swim schools. So swim schools, especially in Florida and here, I worked with a software company that ran out of both countries. And swim schools now, I'd say, as a guess, I still think that most of them run by terms. So, but the good swim schools, like Carlisle especially, is a really big school, and they do direct debit every day, every week of the year, except probably the 1 or 2 times, such as, maybe the Christmas period, they're off for 2 weeks. That's about it. Maybe 1 week at Easter. But I enrolled my daughter 7 years now ago in swim school, and she was on direct debit all the way up until last year. This year. I've just pulled her out this winter because she just outgrew it. I think she's ready for squads. It's just her age. She's ready for the next level, but I pulled her out of swim school. So I've been a parent of a swim school direct debit every week, and I just think that, it's all about the business, and it's about how you sell to your customers. Because generally they're not going to shop around. They may shop around to one other person, but if this is the way it is and you just say, you present it that this is the way it is, consumer will just buy because, that's the way it is. Again, swim school is not 100% into direct debits at the moment, so they're still old school term-based, but the good ones have gone there and realised it's, again, better for the student to be swimming all the way through the holidays. There's so many excuses, and for parents to drop out of the term, what you're doing as a business owner is you're asking someone mentally to make a purchase 4 times a year every term. They've got to weigh up the money and the pain versus the pleasure. And every time you do that, that's 4 times a year. That's insane. Like, I love sales, but I don't want to ask anybody else to make that sales decision at all. Like, if I can help it, I just get them in, make the decision to stay. No way will I ask them to make a decision. I want them to make a decision to leave. So, but I would never get someone to enroll 4 times in a year, because that's just asking the same customer to buy 4 times. You might as well just do it 1 time, and then if they want to leave, you have a minimum term period of 6 or 12 months, and then they've got to make a conscious decision to leave. And I think that's just a much better way to have rapid growth.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm sort of stumbling around.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm all for it, and we teach it in our programs as well. And I just like to hear someone else's perspective, though, on a similar industry but is faced with the same types of challenges. I want to talk about free trials because you mentioned them before. Free trials are going crazy at the moment in the dance space. I mean, you go onto everyone's website and they're doing a free trial. What we hear from our members and from studio owners that I talk to is that they're getting people to sign up for the free trial, or that someone's sending them an email saying, I want to come for that trial, but then they don't come up. They don't come into the studio, or maybe then they come to the studio and they do the trial and then you never hear from them again. I mean, what are some strategies that you can put in place, or that you've put in place to, I guess, help them get into being an enrolled student?
Right, because it's pretty scary coming into a class in a free trial when you think perception-wise that everybody else in that class knows exactly what they're doing. So that's why they chicken out. So the first thing I did so we had the first week of me opening the yoga studio, and we've got Pilates reformer beds, and not a lot of people know what that is, so they do want to have a trial because they actually don't know what it is. Same as the dance programs. I don't know what all the dance programs are either. So we actually had failure on it in the first week in converting. I said, that's it. We're not selling trials, but we book them in. But we try and, if anybody books in for a trial, we give them a call and say, listen, we've got to book you in for a studio tour prior. So we make them come in 20 minutes before the class. That way we sit down with them, we go through a needs analysis, and we just make sure they're actually, one, booked into the right type of class. Because if someone's not fit and they're going into a higher dance class, or they might be the wrong age group, and, you might have a whole lot of young hip hoppers and you've got a 55-year-old overweight lady. She's going to the experience is not, we'll put it that way, that trial class is not going to sell anyway. You're actually going to make her realise she doesn't want to do it, not wants to do it.
Yeah.
And you might have a disconnect with a teacher. So I said to my team, listen, we're putting too much, whilst the trials are great for marketing, we're not going to stop that. We've got to change the system because we're putting too much pressure on that teacher to deliver that number one service in that one class that's going to make that person buy. No one buys a class because of the trial. What they do is they buy it because they've got a need. So people can book trials, but they must do a studio tour first, which means we sit down for 10 to 20 minutes, might be before the class, or we might get them in at a different time. That way we can show them around. Once they've been in the studio, we ask them what their needs are. So what is the number one reason why someone wants to, try a dance program with us? Fitness, something to do on a Saturday night or Thursday night or whatever, just a social component. It might be that they're uncoordinated and they want to be coordinated. They might be, whatever, losing weight. I've heard so many different reasons of why people do dance. And we do bar as well in my studio as well. So there's so many different components to dance. It's just crazy. And then you've got people who really want to learn technique, right? So you need to sit down with them and find out pretty much which one of those 5 components it is. And then we sell the program. We don't sell that one class. And anytime I put a whole lot of people through trials and we're not converting, it's because we're selling the trial, not the membership or the program. We've just got to go, girls, don't sell trials anymore. We've got to go back and sell the program. So we can book them for trials, but we've got to understand the bigger picture of that customer and let them know, Clint, if you want to get started today, we're going to give you your first month free, put you in for a 12-month program, whatever it is. But, you're going to do some of this type of class, you'll do some of this type of class, and, we'll just move you around the program for the next 12 months as your fitness levels grow or whatever it is. And that's how we do it. So the main thing is firstly booking a studio tour, and then, but we also ring them and follow them up as well. And at the time of them coming in for the studio tour, you've got to ascertain what their number one priority is in choosing a dance program. And then we, give them probably a number of options to do. And we ask them to buy. If you're trading your trial today, you have a X, Y, and Z offer. So they must have ability to trade in that trial today. So go and do that one class, come out, and if you want to trade in, we'll give you a special promotion. And then follow up. But you'll find that you'll increase your trial conversion by 50%. We're doing that in some of the finding trials. I hear this a lot from the F45 franchise as well. They do group classes, like group personal training, and they were burning a whole lot of trials as well at the same time, but they just didn't have a procedure like this. So if you put this procedure in, instantly I've already had people ring me saying their conversions have gone up heaps. So
yeah, I love that process, and studio owners can definitely do this. We actually talked about this probably about 4 weeks ago, the consultation, that appointment to come into the studio, and actually instead of just throwing little Susie into the class, 8-year-old Susie into the class, off you go, actually having a conversation with Susie and the parent exactly 20 minutes before the class and saying, hey, getting to know them, finding out why they want to come to classes. Generally, it's the parent, so it's having the conversation, with the parent. And then after the class, following up. I mean, how do you approach that? So let's say they go into the class, little Susie, she's 8, she's just done a ballet class, and she comes out and she's super excited because it was awesome. What's then that conversation like with that parent to say, you know what, we want to enroll you today? I think that's where the studio owners get stuck.
Yeah, when it comes to the kids, that's kind of the same process as swim school. I found that a lot of swim schools that we're just talking price, and people buy emotionally, they don't buy logically, especially when you're a parent of a child. You know, like it's for everybody anyway. And I think a lot of time we sell on price, and we don't really understand exactly what that parent's need is. Like for swim school, it might be for karate, or it might be for the dance. The dance program. My daughter's been through a dance program as well. And my first reason to enroll her as a 2-year-old was just to have her socialise because she was a single child. So, everybody's got their own needs, and if you can actually ask, if a parent's putting the child into the dance program, it's the parent's need. Let's be honest, it's not the child's need.
Yeah.
So the parent's paying, the parent's got the emotional need, the child's happy to do it or not. Like my daughter's 8, she doesn't care what she does, and then you get the passionate ones that really love it. But we're talking about the bigger population here, because the passionate ones will already be enrolled. Like they'll be putting their hand up, coming in saying, I want to do it, right? And they'll be shopping schools. So you'll just have to do your best there. But with the general population, just find out with the parent and ask the parent, not what's, little daughter's number one goal. What is your goal in enrolling your daughter into this program or son or whatever? And, and then listen to them. And if you listen to them, that'll probably be the first time they've actually been listened to, and it'll gain massive rapport. And then you can provide then a solution as to what the program will be to provide, the solution to that parent's problem. So I actually asked my neighbour the other day, I said, is Caitlin still dancing? She's been dancing for 10 years, does all the performances. And she said, yeah. She goes, it's really good for me. The mum. So I said, does she like it? She goes, I don't care. It's really good for me, because she's a high-level corporate executive. She's a HR manager for a huge company in Australia. And it's her couple of hours off on a Saturday where she can just chill out for a while. So isn't that interesting? So Caitlin's out there doing all these performances, and I thought Caitlin just loves it, but the drives come from the mum. She just needs her time out for 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday morning.
I think it's great. But I think that is going to be something that studio owners are going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. That's interesting. I think they'll just love the whole consultation idea, which is only something that's come up recently for us. And they can implement that. I mean, it's not hard 20 minutes before a class to get someone in and have a conversation with them before you actually just throw them in the class. And then, because generally what happens is they come to their trial 5 minutes before, they fill out a disclaimer, they go in, they come out, they go home, and maybe you don't hear from them again.
But if that was a process, I would not let my daughter walk into a process like that. There's no way she'd be like, no, Mum, I don't want to go in. But if we sat down for 20 minutes, had a consultation, it would calm her, calm me, and then I'd be comfortable to send her in. Yeah. So I think it's just going to solve all the problems. Plus, it's going to lift the level of professionalism. And then if you ask me to buy a 12-month program, I'd be in, because your professionalism's just gone up. So I trust you for that long period of time.
Yeah, exactly. How long, let's say that they don't buy on the day, okay? Yep. So they don't buy on the day. What kind of follow-up process could we put into place? If they leave and they go, oh, we're going to think about it, what would you suggest the studio owners do from that point on?
Okay, so definitely after the trial, the first thing you've got to say is, so Mary, you want to get started today? You have to just ask that question. And I think by asking that question, you'll increase your sales by about half, because, there's statistics around that most people don't get the sale, or most people don't buy stuff because they've never been asked to buy it. I bet you most people leave trial and the person's there going, okay, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
I've seen that.
Yes,
my staff don't get fed if that happens. So, because I actually think that what happens is that we think that that's what the customer wants, but it's actually such a bad level of service. The customer's going to walk out and think, these people don't care about me. Like, what do I do? I have to make all the effort. So always say after the class, so you're going to get started now? And you'll be surprised how many people say yes. That's my classic line we do after trials. And people just go, yeah, okay, because they just think, well, hang on, why not? They're kind of put on the spot. And then that's great. And so do that. Then after that, if they say no, try and cover objections twice. So generally objections are working towards getting the sale. So sometimes I've had people go, no, I don't want to get started now. And I'd say, oh, is there any reason why? And they say, oh, because I don't get paid until next Tuesday. And we go, oh, no problem. If you want to start, your daughter up, we can bill you out next Tuesday or next Friday. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. And so, well, there you go, done. So always ask for the sale twice and cover objections that are the real problem. Then if they say, no, I just really need to speak to my partner, or I want to try another school, whatever, I would then try and book a second trial, right? So then especially if it's like a competition, you want them, I would say, well, listen, why don't I book you for the same time next week or on a different day or a different class, whatever you've got available in your bag of tricks that you think that they would help. I would say, okay, because you want them to come back. So I'd say, well, why don't we book a second trial, and then at that point, then we can decide what we're going to do. And then we've got them for another appointment, and then at that point, again, go through the same process, ask them to buy, cover 2 objections, and that means that they would have been asked at least twice, you would have had to cover at least 4 objections. The chance of them saying no, I know by statistics and sales, will be very minimal. So, and then if not, then we would give them a phone call and follow them up probably within 24 hours after that second trial, immediately. And you've got to let them know. So, no, I understand what your concerns are. What I'll do is I'll give you a call by 3 o'clock tomorrow. That way you don't think I'm a weirdo for calling you at 3 o'clock tomorrow. We plan that call, we plan that follow-up, and then I'll call them and then get the decision then, and then maybe then from then you'll work out what they were saying. They might say, oh, look, we're going to Paris for a month, I need to book it off after that, and you put them into your 1 to 31 folder or whatever it is. So I use a 1 to 31 folder. It's a folder that's got the 1 to 31 days in it. I'm still yet to find a computer program that's good enough, because when we're busy running administration and everything, we kind of need something on the desk visual. Everything in the computer is lost as far as I'm concerned. You know, it might have you might have done their little interview, the mini questionnaire of what they wanted, the needs analysis. You'll stick this into their folder, and then you'll just keep an update of following up. I still put notes and stuff in their folder on the computer, but it's just easy to get in. It's the 5th of the month. You open the folder. How many people do I need to ring today? And then off you go and follow them up and just, you know, give them great customer service.
Yeah, I definitely remember that 1 to 31 folder.
Yeah.
It's a great process. It's a fantastic process. When it comes to sales and with dance studio owners, like with health clubs and a lot of after school activities, it's a pretty saturated market now. There's not one dance studio owner I talk to that says, oh no, there's no dance studios around me. I mean, they've all got their opening above them, underneath them, up the road, down the road. How can we stand out? How can we position ourselves to be a standout studio? And when someone comes in, what is it that we need to be able to convey to them? What's that conversation that they're going to go, you know, this is the place for me, not, you know, Susie's Dance Academy up the road?
Well, it's just like restaurants, right? Like, if you're just good at what you do and you're great with people, they're going to want to come to your restaurant instead of the one down the road. And that it really just comes to the person who's running the business or managing it. You don't have to be in your business if you're the owner. You just have to have a great manager. It really comes down to you and how you treat people. But, you know, the States is very much into a differentiation mode where everybody's trying to be specialised. And I think I had this conversation with you when we went out for lunch maybe a year ago, mate. And I said to you, you can't be everything to everybody. So even you have to be like sitting a niche. And I think when you've got a skill, yeah, you can be everything to everyone. You know, business coaching, you can coach a million different types of businesses. But when you're good at something and you can help a niche, you might as well stick on that run and just absolutely saturate that niche and then expand. Because what happens is if you aren't good at something and you don't speak to somebody, you're kind of speaking to nobody, and then you really are struggling, like you're kind of dead in the water. So if you're really good at hip hop and hip hop with kids, then you tell the world that, and you really work harder at that program and come up with some different programs, you know, like it might be a parent-child combo hip hop class or whatever it is. You've just got to be a little bit different. Like, don't get too crazy, but just really focus on what you're good at best and stick to it. So I've had to do this myself. You know, I'm really into being creative and doing a million things, and I keep coming back to, for this particular business, what exactly are we doing? And if we start branching out, we start bastardizing what we do, and it confuses the consumer. So make, you know, point of gift is to be good at something, and then just really work at it and tell everybody how good you are at that one thing. Now, I know there's a million different genres of dance, and you can't be delivering all of them, you know. Like, that's probably what some studios do. Let's just be everything to everybody. Oh, you know, this is in or that's in. Like, no, what do you do and stick to it? And then maybe you can just make a new program of something that you're really good at.
Yeah, I love that. It's great advice, you know, and I've talked about this with people that have big preschool kind of schools in their studio that focus on fairy ballet classes or whatever it might be. Don't go and now add acro or something. I mean, there's still a market there, more people there for you to get into your programs and add more to that. I mean, I love that. We definitely share the same philosophies around that. And I think a lot of our studio owners need to hear that, you know, stop trying to be all things to all people, you know, pick those different niches that you can have in your studio and go for it. I think it's, you know, I think it's fantastic. You know, I know you're great on the phone when it comes to sales. And the funny thing is, so many studio owners, whether it's them or it's their office manager that's like, you know, picking up the phone during the day going like, hello, you know, and not answering the phone and really just not knowing how to treat a new inquiry when it comes through on the phone. What are some tips that you've got? If there's a parent that's calling us and they want some information, how should we approach that?
So 100% have a script. For every phone calls going in and out, you need to have scripts. Why? Because we're so multitasking at the moment that, you know, your brain can't always navigate itself properly into a conversation. And then when it does, the person gives you objections or questions, and then your brain's kind of tired at the end. So we always have a script. And the thing like Beckham, like David Beckham is the world's best, well, he was at one stage world's best, we'll use him anyway, best soccer player, right? And he would put a ball on a blade of grass and kick it 300 times into the goals. So when that ball falls on that blade of grass in the game, everyone goes, oh, wow, that was a mad kick. But he's actually done that 300 times before. Remember, it takes like 10,000 hours to be a master in anything. So if you do a script, you can't be a master in everything if you're reinventing the way you do something every single time. So you must have a phone script just so that every time you get a call coming in, you follow it. Even if you know it, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'll still follow a phone script because it just makes me better and better and better at delivering that phone call and making it sound so easy for the customer to ask me questions coming in, because they're all nervous. I don't need to be nervous as well. Like someone needs to control the conversation. So have a phone script there. You always use it. It's easy if I write on it as well who the person is calling in, and then I book them in for you for tomorrow to see them on a studio tour or a trial. Then you've got a series of notes anyway. You can brief them. We just look like a really great organisation as well, really professional.
Yeah, and I love the consistency around having a script as well. So no matter if it's you like running around and you're like, oh, I'm going to answer the phone, or it's your receptionist, or if it's your office manager, the process is consistent, which means your results are going to be more consistent. And it's like an enrollment process when they go through that initial inquiry through to enrolling in a class. If everyone's making it up every time, or your staff are making it up, I mean, you're not going to know kind of what's working or what's not.
That's right. And the other thing is, like, I might be energetic in the morning, but after working 12 hours on a Monday, I might be tired, and I will be inconsistent with my delivery of what I'm doing, let alone consistency with each person in the team. So, you know, we've got to value that person ringing up has spent time to do it. Like, they would probably be on the stages of change model when they're buying something. They probably, initially people don't realise they've got a need for something in pre-contemplation. Then they're in contemplation where they're seriously thinking about it, like I should enroll my daughter in dance lessons. And then they're in preparation where I might make a call or get onto the website and find out about you. And then they're in action like the day I come down and sign her up. But you've got to understand, most people calling in are in contemplation or preparation. So we've got to ascertain where they are. We've got to just give them credit in this busy society that they've taken time out for a little bit now to ring my business to help, obviously, their daughter. We need to figure out, you know, give them a little bit of time and give them the respect that, you know, we appreciate them giving our business a call. So especially if there's so much competition. So just a little bit of respect and not treating people like blubbering around. Because, you know, if I'm a mum on the other phone, or if I'm interested in dance lessons and I've come to this conclusion that I want to do this in this business, that's a make or break. You know, you've got whatever 30 seconds to make an impression. If you're not answering the phone properly, if you're in a rush, if you're not got a thorough script or any processes, well, then I don't trust your product to have processes either. So get a script. I'm sure you can help them with that, but follow it and implement it. So it's no good having all these processes if you're not going to be disciplined about it. So you need to make sure every day that people are following the scripts. Every day you're going to have to check that people are following the 1 to 31 folder. Every day those needs analysis sheets, you're going to have to double check them and say, show me what happened yesterday. So once a week I get my team and I get them to open up their 1 to 31s and I make them go through every single person that we've got outstanding at the moment on trials, whatever. So what's happening with her? Who's that? Show me her guest register. And if it's not filled out properly and there's no need, that's why they don't sell. That's why you didn't sell it. You can't sell something to someone if you haven't ascertained what their need is. So you've got to follow that process for the rest of your life. You can't just implement systems. You've got to run them and audit them as well.
Yeah, super, super awesome advice. I love it. Now, I guess one of the things is getting them in and enrolling them. And then the next job is ensuring that they stay with us.
Right.
We know that it's costing us 7 times more to get a new student in our dance studio than it is to retain an existing one. And you touched on before about growth. It's like, hang on a minute, this business is losing more people. So it's not, they don't need more leads. They actually just need to hang on to the people that they're bringing through the door. So once a new student enrolls in our studio, what are some of the things that we can do over maybe those first 90 days to keep them engaged? Because they come into a class, the first class, maybe their 3-year-old cries, maybe that happens the first 3 classes.
Guaranteed, yeah.
I mean, how can we ensure that they're going to stick around?
Okay, so first thing was the product you sell up front will help you. So by having more long-term products will obviously help people have more buy-in to an entire process. If I've just bought a series of classes or a 10-pack and my daughter cries, I won't go back. But if I've bought into a 6-month program as a parent, I'll navigate through those problems of parking issues or whatever it is. So just understand the shorter-term issues is going to, the more investment that person's got initially, the more they'll commit to navigating through, daughter might have a cold or parking's a problem or whatever it is, tantrums, whatever. So if I've got a long investment from the get-go, from the right system set up in the first place, I'm more invested. The second thing is referrals. If you've got a parent that's got another friend going there, then they're going to be more likely to stay. So we did that. We did a Groupon deal, and we gave people a 21-day money-back guarantee. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Now we'll go back to our normal 7-day cooling-off period, just because naturally people are thinking, instead of going, congratulations, you've started on the program, well done, we're saying, don't worry, you've got a 21-day money-back guarantee, which is planting a negative thought in their head. So I'm not going to do that, but to navigate through that, I said, guys, every time a Groupon comes in, just get them to bring a friend. So that way we just saved ourselves on that money-back guarantee process. But next time it won't be like that. But again, the moment we start to get money back or cooling off period people, it's just got to, at point of sale, get them to refer friends and to come in with them on the first week. Mm-hmm. So as soon as someone signs up, especially if they've got a sister or brother, it doesn't really matter. You would say, now that little Mary's signed into class or for the program, we'd like to offer you a week for maybe your other child to come into a different age program or whatever. Or do you have a friend, Mary? Do you have a little friend that you would like to bring in for a week or 2 weeks? And try and get Mary to bring a friend from school to come in with her. And the same if you're an adult. Like if I've just decided that I'm a bit, getting to 42 years old, I don't want to go to the gym anymore. I've heard this in my area. That's why I opened Yoga Pilates and we do bar, because people don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to eat at the same restaurant that I ate when I was 18. So I don't want to go to the same exercise places. So I know that some of the women with a little bit, a bit older, or they're actually going to dance now instead of going to gyms just to keep in shape and to move. For sure. So again, it'd be better for me to bring a friend for the consumer. And then once we're in, we're both long term. So having a better structure at the beginning, at point of sale, definitely at point of sale, asking for the referral. Don't think of it as getting a new customer. Think of it as retaining that new member that's just joined.
I love it.
It really helped us with those Groupons, like stopping the money back guarantee period. And then obviously making sure the instructors switched on. I think sometimes the teachers are so busy delivering the class, they don't engage individually with people. And if you see that something's not right, like my daughter did go to dance lessons when she was 2 and she did cry every time, and I did pull her out because she cried all the time. But the teacher just kept going through making them point the toe, and that was about it. So I did pull her out because of that reason. The teacher never cared. She didn't engage with me. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, why am I paying money to distress my child all the time? So if she came over and said this is a normal process, what happened was in the class, the little kids would sit in the corner, get up and just do the little pointing the toe thing. So they had all this energy. They were so excited to come to class that they actually start crying. She'd be better off, if I explained this to her, she'd be better off just having a freestyle dance for 5 minutes so the kids could just let go of that nervous tension and then sit them down. We would have been such an easy win for all the parents. So, and then that would be another thing I was actually thinking about when you asked me that question was surveys. So you can use SurveyMonkey. I don't know if you've got another program, but just survey your customers probably every 6 months and just asking them little things like that. You'll get great feedback from the people who bought off you and great feedback from people who didn't buy off you. So that'll help in the first, period of time. Also, automatic emails. If you've got a software system that'll send them an automatic email saying every week, it'd be like week 1, week 2, week 3, and it might just give them information about children's dance programs or adults and how you're feeling. Like, it's natural to feel sore.
That's right. That's what we do. Yeah, we kind of put in place, it's like a 90-day, not every week over 90 days. At the front, there's a lot more, but it's exactly those things that are feeling like, you know, that child's been crying. You know, it's normal for your child to cry as they get used to it, and we've got this program in place and blah. So it's just naturally getting them over those objections. We even do it around, it's funny you mentioned parking, because some studio owners, like, it's a nightmare to park. So there's things about that as well. And there's also, you can go here and blah, blah, blah. So I think the emails definitely support it. And as well, it's you know, setting those expectations up front, so that when something happens and they're like, whoa, I didn't know this was going to happen, or I didn't know I'd be so sore and I can't get out of bed, which I'm sure you guys face a lot as well if they're doing reform.
Especially the people in bar class. To be honest, the women think they're coming to do bar and it's all easy.
Yeah, when it's definitely not. We know if we've taught ballet or done ballet that doing anything on the bar is quite challenging. Amanda, I'd love to wrap up with you. I've loved our conversation. What do you think? Like, what are your 3 tips for running a successful business? Like, when you work with so many business owners, and whether they're dance studios or their health clubs or their swim schools, what have you seen have been those 3 main characteristics that you see across business owners that are really thriving?
Long-term vision, so they know what they want to do and where they're going. Again, all the systems, you know, are sort of set up for long-term. 2, when they treat their team properly, because if they treat their team properly, then the team's going to be the ones that service people. Like, I've seen some really weird stuff going on. Like, even as a consultant, I actually paid for all the Christmas presents. I bought one of my clients all Christmas presents for all their teachers last year, because the owner never bought them anything. And they don't know it's from me. They thought it was from the business. But I just couldn't put up with that, you know. And then, funny enough, that business is probably having its best year this year. So you've got to look after the team. Otherwise, like, I just knew as a consultant I couldn't get more out of that business unless I made sure the team were looked after. So you've got to look after the team, you know, with bonuses or just simple things as a Christmas candle gift, you know, dinners out. I even bought my own team. I went to India and presented in June, and I came back. I read a Deepak Chopra book on the soul of the new leadership, the leadership of the new soul. It's a fantastic book, and I actually bought every single one of my teachers a copy of the book, because I thought, well, they're leaders in the class, right? And so just things like that. It doesn't cost much money, but you invest in them, and they'll invest in the members or the students and stuff like that. And the other thing is, don't stop lead generation. So, you know, you're going to have to be out there today. Before here, I was actually running down the street and taping across the telegraph poles posters, because we've got an open day on the weekend. And outside the schools, I was doing that. And that's what I got to do. And so lead generation, go to the bus stops, get name and numbers, book trials. Like, it's not easy. I'm spending a fortune on marketing at the moment. I'm fortune on Facebook advertising, and Facebook's changed all its algorithms. If you put anything, I'm sure you've got a whole section on that, but, you know, just quickly on Facebook, you know, with your fans, just because you've got fans on your page, if you put anything now that says the word free, click here, come to class, anything that's sort of seen as promotional by Facebook, you're actually not going to show it to any of your fans at all. So you've got to pay for that. So just the whole concept of this is that you've got to be everything. You've got to do so much. Don't stop looking for new leads, and don't think, when is it going to end? Because I can tell you now it's not going to end, because you're going to navigate through new things all the time. So be a really aggressive lead generator. Build a culture about that. Reward your instructors if they bring in leads. Like, some of my teachers now are bringing in people, which is great. Because why? Because I invest in them. And just, you know, continue to build the culture that sales is the number one culture. In my businesses, when I go in there, everybody's either going to be selling. I think it's really everyone's going to be selling, generating leads, which means adding to the database. So selling, adding to the database, generating leads, or cleaning. They're the three options. But even when they're teaching, they're still selling, right? Because they're still got to make sure that that person has a great experience to come back to next class.
Exactly. And they stay, you know, and it's a conversation I've had with lots of our members, is that you should have KPIs and goals in place for your teachers about retaining students. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, they don't just rock up and teach a class. Like, you know, there's more responsibility that could be there for teachers.
Because they're the ones that the clients have got, even the children or you, they're the ones that are delivering the 100% of the service. So if they're not delivering it from the brand, you're gone. And that's just what happens. It's just got to make sure that when that teacher even leaves, or they might go on maternity leave, that the students know that they belong to you, and it's not a problem replacing that teacher as well. So, yeah, it's really important.
Great conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Where can our audience go for more details on you, Amanda?
So I've got a book called Customer Acquisition, 465 Ways to Gain and Retain Customers, which you've read. They can just jump on Amazon.
Multiple times. Multiple. It's one of the books is like in the office that I'm continually flicking through, because there literally is over 400 ways that you can get clients. And it's great for studio owners. I've suggested it to our members and the people in our group because it's a great book.
So they can go to on Amazon.com. If they just Google Customer Acquisition 465 Ways to Gain and Retain Customers, they'll get there's an ebook on there or a hard copy. So go and get yourself the book, and you'll never need to speak to me again because you've got everything in there. And I'm sure you'll help them implement some of those lead generation ideas, I should say.
Those strategies, there's lots in there. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and for being a part of Dance Teachers Unite for 2015.
Good luck, everybody.
Bye.